Hey, what's going on, everybody? MadDawg and WarHorse here with BeyondReturnGaming, and today we're going to be going over the two new ops that you're seeing in the technical test server. It's going to be Kali and Wamai. So, first, we're going to start off with Kali. As everybody knows, she gets that CSRX 300 sniper rifle that everybody's up and down about of whether it's OP or not. But we'll get into that a little bit later. She's got the CSRX sniper rifle, chambered in 300 Win Mag, and it's got the 8 and 12 times variable zoom on it. That's her only primary, which doesn't surprise me. But her secondary, she's got two options. She's got the C75 Auto, which is that little auto pistol that is neither here nor there. She's also got the P226 Mark 25, which I believe is the SAS pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got the SAS pistol. Those are her two secondaries. And then she's going to have, as her gadget, is the Lance, which simply put is like a Thatcher Ash combo. It fires out, it burrows into the wall, and then it does like an EMP effect and blows up any gadgets that are near that area. It will not make a hole in a reinforced wall. It doesn't matter how many times, whether you shoot 1 or 5. I don't even think she gets 5. But
3 is the max.
it doesn't matter how many you shoot into the same spot. It won't put a hole in a reinforced wall. So she's not a substitute for a hard breach or a Maverick or something like that. It's only going to destroy gadgets. We'll talk more about her later. Next, we're going to jump into Wamai. Wamai has the AUG A2 that we see on people like IQ.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have access to the ACOG. There's no ACOG on his AUG. His other primary is the MP5K, which you get with Mute. Mute has that same gun. And those are his two options for primaries. His secondary, he gets the Karatos 357, which is that 357 revolver that we see on people like Alibi and Maestro. And then he's also got the P12, which is the pistol for, was it the GIGN?
No, it's either GIGN or GS9, but I believe it's GIGN.
Okay, but either way, he's got the P12 pistol. That's his other secondary. His gadget is the Magnet. Essentially what it is it deploys like a goo mine. You throw it and it sticks, or it also deploys kind of like an Ella mine in the sense. You throw the gadget out and it sticks to wherever you throw it. Then it's got a bloom that comes out of it, just like Qaed's, whenever Qaed throws his electrical. It has that area that you can see, what area it affects. And essentially what it does is anything aside from a Twitch drone or a Kairos pellet, so any of your flashbangs, smokes, frags, even Kali's gadget, the Lance, any of that stuff deploys, it sucks it up to the magnet, and then it resets the detonation timer on it, and then it explodes there at the magnet. So if somebody's cooking a frag, throws it in, and it's only got 1 second left before it goes off, it'll suck it up into the magnet, redo the timer on it, and then it'll detonate after that. But that's really it as far as loadouts and everything go. I think WarHorse is going to talk to you for a minute about a couple things, then we'll go into a discussion segment, and we'll kind of discuss our thoughts and opinions after playing the TTS, and what we think about their gameplay and how they're going to affect the game.
Taking into consideration past operators, with these two new operators, there's not going to be a whole lot of change. They don't bring anything extremely interesting except for the sniper rifle and their actual gadgets. Their backstories, this is the first private military group we're seeing. This isn't an actual military group from any one nation. It's a privately funded military force. So that's a little bit interesting. It's kind of unique in of itself. And apart from the gadgets, it just brings different ways of dealing with the same problems we already have in Rainbow Six Siege with grenades or gadgets. But we'll go into a discussion of that and talk about how we see things going in the gold to plat ELO rank with the next season.
So, we'll go on to the discussion segment a little bit. I think we'll choose Kali first. So, personally, my first thoughts on Kali was as soon as I saw that sniper rifle in the trailer release, that it was going to be OP as shit. Like, it was just going to be completely OP, needs a hard nerf. Like, why would they do that? For me, that's kind of changed a little bit. She I've played with her in the TTS. I've gotten some gameplay in with her, and I've seen her play. The sniper rifle is really powerful. I don't know. In a sense, yes, it's OP because she can one-shot down anybody. Doesn't matter where she hits them. I mean, obviously, a headshot with any gun is a one-shot kill, but anywhere she shoots, leg, arm, chest, one-shot down. So, and y'all can tear it up in the comments, but I feel like it's kind of OP, but then again, I've seen gameplay with her, I've played with her. It's not that bad. What really balances it out is her time between rounds, or how fast she can chamber the next round, and the fact that, as we've talked about on Reddit, most of your engagements inside of Rainbow are only probably a couple rooms at max. I mean, you may have a long hallway, but it's all inside of a building, so your engagements aren't super long. And that's what kind of hinders her, is she only gets 8x. It's not like, she can back out to like a hollow or something. If she could back out to a hollow, then it'd be OP, but she still has to be zoomed in at 8 times at minimum.
No, 5 times.
5 times?
5 to 12 is the zoom magnification of the sniper rifle. So you're still dealing with the same problems as like an ACOG. So you have very narrow tunnel of vision, and when you zoom into that 12 times, you have even worse tunnel vision at that point.
Yeah. I thought it was 8, but it may be, it may only be 12. Alright, sorry, it may only be 5. But either way, she can't zoom out to a more CQB optic, which really limits her inside a building. Now, granted, like I said, if she's holding an angle on something that's a little bit of a distance where you would use an ACOG in that situation, then yeah, she's gonna excel and that'll work. But if she's going into, we'll take kitchen on, what is it, cafe?
Chalet kitchen would be a real good example, because that small window that runs right across the top and allows you to watch for people.
Well, yeah, that would be good for her scope at the 12 times or whatever. But no, I'm talking about I think it's cafe that has the kitchen downstairs, right?
Oh yeah.
So if she's having to go in, let's say clear that from a hallway, and you've got an anchor or two sitting in there, she's gonna have to clear with her secondary, which is that either most people run the C75. That's what I've seen a lot of gameplay with. But either she's gonna have to run it with that, or she's gonna have to run it with just the regular pistol, because that scope at that close of range isn't doing her any favors, which is where the balancing aspect, I feel like, comes into that a little bit. What have you got on it?
Her primary focus, apart from having that amazing sniper rifle to one-shot down, is going to be the lance round. She offers the ability for her to fire a round that is going to have a shockwave effect that's going to destroy gadgets. So at long range, you don't have to worry about getting a Thatcher in close to throw his EMP nade and worry about a Jaeger ADS zapping it, or worry about it bouncing in there and then worrying about a bandit trick going on the other side. This allows for more long-range gameplay, and here recently we've seen Thatcher getting banned a lot more. So now you have an alternative. When Thatcher gets banned, you can pick her and have the same effect. She's going to be extremely crippling to teams that rely on flanks and on maps where there are going to be long angles, like we talked about. I can imagine on Chalet kitchen, watching from that little window. She could even get up in that little tower that's back behind that window, far off, that not a whole lot of people use, and she can look through there with 12 times optics. You take, what's the map I'm thinking of? Coastline. She can sit back in the ruins of Coastline and watch billiards. She can watch hookah. She can watch all of that, get up on the roof and have some real nice angles. She's going to be crippling for teams that don't know how to counter long-range gameplay. She's almost, in a sense, Gloss 2.0, but with more of a one-shot knockdown where she can't follow up with her shots, and if she misses the first shot, that may be the only chance she gets. But overall, I'm with you. Thought she was overpowered when she first came out, but after playing around with her and seeing how many times you just absolutely get destroyed in close range because you missed your one shot, and Jaeger comes around with his 416 and just destroys you, there is some balancing aspects to it.
Well, and it also, the big thing that plays a factor of her sniping ability is if she can be in position first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were playing that game on Favela on the TTS, and I took Callie out 2 rounds in a row. I mean, I peeked her with a hollow, and then I peeked her with an ACOG.
Mm-hmm.
She was coming up the ladder on the back side across from the map. And, I mean, I had no problems peeking her. Granted, I mean, she took a couple shots at me, which you have to really be careful of, because if one connects, then automatically downed. But, you know, if you've got, like I was running a rook, if you've got a rook that can go full auto, and even if you put it in single fire, I mean, as fast as you can spam the trigger, then you've got rounds out. So she's constantly having to, you know, in combating somebody like that on a map like that, she's constantly having to peek back into cover, reload, rescope, and peek back out, which takes away from her ability to just stay on target. Whereas you, as that rook or whoever you are, if you've got that ACOG and you're just watching that spot, all you have to look for is that color change and just, you know, pull the trigger, and you've got hits in. So
I agree with that.
You know, it's she's definitely going to change the game a little bit, as far as holding long angles and that sort of thing. But honestly, like I said, I thought she was going to be super overpowered. And you know, I said the rifle needs a nerf, stuff like that. But and there may still be some nerfs that come out. I mean, granted, it's still in the test server, so I mean, it's only been out in the test server for what, maybe a week now?
A little longer than that, but not long at all.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of changes that are going to have to come out of it, and you know, we won't even know until it hits the actual main servers, and then even after that, because they always release some sort of updates after that where they do buffs and nerfs and
mid-season patches and stuff.
Yeah, things are always changing. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see, you know, what actually comes out of it when it launches on the main servers. But I feel like that's enough of Kali right now. We'll get into Wamai a little bit and kind of go over him. You want to start off on Wamai?
I'll start in saying I think a lot of people refer to him as a Jaeger 2.0. In fact, replacing Jaeger. But I don't think Jaeger's going to see... He'll see a decline in his pick rate at first, but the versatility of Jaeger is going to keep him in the game. I don't think he's going to get replaced by him, because his gadget takes one grenade, whether it be smoke, flash, a fuse, hockey puck, whatever. Takes one, sucks it up, and blows it up. And then it's done for. So if you only have one covering a room, you only get to destroy one utility gadget from an attacking team, whereas Jaeger can take out 2. And Jaeger outright destroys the gadget.
It's 3, isn't it?
I believe it's 2.
I think an ADS takes out 3.
I believe it's only 2 or 3, but it's still...
Y'all let us know in the comments.
It still takes out more than 1. Yeah. And because it just outright destroys it, well, a lot of our strats where we run Mira, especially take Laundry on Oregon. When you're downstairs Laundry of Oregon and you are playing Mira and you're trying to control the A side, I believe, you don't want a magnet letting one grenade get sucked up and then Buck's next grenade from hatch going in and killing you. You want a Jaeger ADS behind the wall with you so that he can throw both grenades back there if he wants, but they're still going to get zapped. Now, the one good thing about it is unlike Jaeger, it will counter Capital's firebolts. So you could use it, put 2 in there to stop Capital if you know the enemy team's going to run a Capital to try to dissuade Mira from sitting behind her Mira windows, and that will help. You could also use it a lot more sneakily to, troll Fuse in a way, because we tested that on the test server. It'll suck it up next to the floor, and it could actually hurt or kill Fuse if he's close enough to it. So you can do some interesting things with it, but I don't think it's going to outright just destroy Jaeger.
No, and actually, because I've been following Reddit a little bit with the new TTS and everything, and the new ops and what people have been saying, and a lot of people are actually dogging on Wamai because of his gadget. A lot of people are talking about, and I'm guilty, I thought at first too, and it still may need a little bit of a nerf, but his range on his magnet is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's huge. You can cover, depending on how it's placed and how close your objectives are. Like if you take, Skyscraper, for example. You take Skyscraper, and if you're up there in the office, and what's that room tank called? Is it Trophy?
Trophy and office.
Yeah, if you're up there at Trophy office, and you blow out the wall between Trophy office with a shotgun or impact, something like that, and you place it where you blew it out, you'll cover the entryways of both of those doors into the objectives a little bit, and you'll cover both sides. So I feel like it still needs a little bit of a nerf as far as the range goes. Supposedly, what I heard in Reddit is it has the same effective range as Jaeger's ADS.
I don't see that.
I don't know how, but I mean, I've yet to test it. We could probably test that and see.
It'd be nice if we could see Jaeger's effect. Like, you can see mute jammers when you send them down. You can see Cade's Electroclaws. It'd be nice if potentially before it goes out on the live server, that was something they added, is when Jaeger puts down one, it would show the area of effect, because then you could actually see, whether or not we are getting anything spectacular, because just from personal experience, it seems like that magnet can suck up things that a Jaeger ADS would ignore because it's just out of range.
Yeah. But a lot of people are saying that Wamai is not a Jaeger replacement, just simply for the fact that, as WarHorse said, it doesn't replace anything. Just because, like I said, with the ADS, you get 2 to 3 fires essentially, and it just flat out destroys it. Whereas a magnet, while yes, more versatile in deployment, because you can just yeet it onto a roof or something, and you can't do that with an ADS. But it only destroys one thing. So with a Capitao firebolt or something like that, it's perfect. It'll take those out. But as far as preventing a fuse or preventing nade spams or flashbang spams or something like that, it's not going to do it. But as far as Wamai goes, overall, in my opinion, I think he's a fairly balanced operator. I don't personally see anything that's OP with him. I mean, he gets the AUG, which is fine. He doesn't get an ACOG or anything, so the AUG is a nice adjustment or a nice addition for a defensive operator. Other than that, I mean, he gets the MP5K, which you see on mute, which isn't anything spectacular or new. His secondaries are nothing really to speak of. They're just this op got a whole bunch of recycled weapons, as we've been seeing before. And even with those year 5 leaks, now granted, there's still a lot of time for them to change that, and they may change it now that it has been leaked, and they kind of did an oopsie on that one. But I mean, even with both new year 5 operators, all that we saw was recycled weapons.
Yeah, and to a point, that it's not a bad thing, because one of the main hindrances of having new weapons is always unique sounds. So you can always tell an operator based on the sound of the gun. Now, with recycled weapons, you don't know if it was mute or if it was Wamai. You don't know if it's your teammate IQ shooting down the hallway or if she's actually having a gun battle with Wamai. So, I mean, there is some interesting takes and little tactics and tricks you could use, I guess, but using recycled guns ain't nothing bad, because at the end of the day, if you know how to use the MP5K, well, then you'll know how to use it for mute and Wamai.
That's true. That's a fair point. We all want to see new guns and new things and all this stuff with the fancy new operators, but I guess that brings a pretty valid point. I mean, if you're an IQ main and you're a god with the AUG, now you get it on defense, that just takes your game to the next level on defense, because now you can run the same gun on offense and defense and hone your skills with one weapon instead of, take Kali, for example. Like, yeah, she's got the C75, which you can also see on, like, Vigil or Dokkaebi, but I don't think... Does Dokkaebi get it?
She gets the C75.
I thought one of them had
They both get the SMG-12 or the C75.
Okay, yeah. But, so with that, she gets the C75, so if you use the C75 or the pistol that she gets, then that works great for, your CQB, I suppose, but, then she gets the new sniper, which the new sniper in and of itself is fine, but you don't get that experience with, that transferable experience with the same gun.
There's also the added fact that now Ubisoft can focus more of their efforts on balancing out the gadget itself and not wondering, well, is the operator overpowered because the gadget they bring to the table, or is it the actual gun they bring to the table? Because in some operators' cases, take Mute, take Sledge and Thatcher, for example, because they both have L85s. And I've never heard a complaint about the L85, but if one operator is doing better with that gun than the other operator, you'd have to start looking at that operator and going, well, is it the operator or is it the gun that's being used? Is it their playstyle being used? And so recycling guns, you don't have to worry about balancing those guns quite as much. You might have to add some tidbits back and forth just to make it a little fair, because obviously you can't have an ACOG on an AUG on defense, because that would just throw everything out the window.
I mean, hell, they already put in the Boss G ACOG.
But that's getting into something else, because that's a 2-shot sniper rifle, and you only get them 2 shots.
Yeah.
But you put an AUG on defense with an ACOG, you're pretty much introducing a Jaeger 2.0 back in the dark days of Jaeger spawn peeking and Bandit spawn peeking, but that's a whole nother beast in of itself.
Yeah.
So
We'll briefly hit on that. The Boss G ACOG. I don't know.
what a wonderful thing. I don't know how many people follow the Twitter account of Bikini Bodhi, but Deagle ACOG would be the next step from apparently what he said, and Ubisoft's like, not a chance. What are you talking about?
Deagle ACOG. Jesus.
First, we got the Sonic the Hedgehog rework from the movies, and now a corporation is actually listening to some streamer and saying, hey, let's put an ACOG on the Boss G for a season, see how that goes. And I can only wait to see the gun duels.
I mean, Vigil's pick rate skyrockets.
It will, but I wonder, because we play at the gold plat level, I wonder just how much of an effect, because when you have people like us who are capable of pulling off amazing clutches, but at the same time pulling off donkey strats where you can't hit the broadside of a barn if you were sitting inside the barn.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see just how effective that is, or if more people will play it off as the mean cannon it always was, and just go, if you're good with it, you're good with it. If you're not, stick to the full auto.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap up today's video. We've got some good thoughts and information out on these 2 new ops, and like I said, everything's still in beta, so to speak. Everything's still in the test server, so we'll just wait around and kind of see, what comes of it. There's still a lot of bugs that are being worked out, and I'm sure we'll post a video of some of those. I kind of wanted to do that just so you could see, we all dog on Ubisoft for some of the things that they do or don't do, but at the end of the day, I will give them some credit. They put in a lot of work working out a lot of these bugs that we end up finding on the test server. So,
yep.
But I think that's it. That's going to be it.
That's all I've got.
Alrighty. So, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. All that
all
bullshit.
That fancy stuff.
Yeah. And we'll see you in the next one.